gonna just go with it.
Are we?
With the crunches.
No. Yes. Say what today.
Make like bread and roll.
We're not using that.
I bet it'll end up in one of these clips.
Welcome to the Hall Monitors podcast, a podcast brought to you by the City of DeSoto's communications team, recorded right here at City Hall.
Back in the day, it was the hall monitors that kept an eye on the halls of this old school building. Now we're keeping an eye on the big projects, decisions, and stories shaping our city. So grab your hall pass and let's take a walk, not a run, through DeSoto's past, present, and future.
This is the Hall Monitors podcast.
Let's get to class. Forgot the bell.
That was the bell.
Hello and welcome back to the Hall Monitors podcast. Today, Libby and I are both hosting and guesting each other. Usually, we are interviewing a guest who has the subject matter expert on a project, but today, that is us. So not only do we plan communications for the city, but we also do community outreach and community events. And we wanted to give you a syllabus of what all we have going on this summer season.
Yes, I hope you enjoy the birds because we are here at Riverfest where we're actually on what is usually a stage for our summer concerts, but we turned it into our makeshift studio.
Yeah, even though we're at Riverfest Park, we still brought these old City Hall school chairs. So usually when we have a guest, we like to do some intel and ask somebody they're related to if they have any good stories about our guests in elementary school or just in their school days. However, your mom did not respond to my Facebook message. So Tracy, I have no dirt on, oh my gosh, I thought she just messaged me. I have no dirt on Libby, so I don't have any good stories to ask you about.
Well, you know what is funny is that in high school,
We don't even have to ask and we get a story.
Yeah, I'm ready. In high school, I actually planned school dances and events with the student council, and I really loved it. So when I decided to go journalism, I was kind of sad I was missing out on that, but this job is just perfect for that.
That's really funny. Yeah, same. I did all the prom and homecoming planning and then still in college and then now community events. I mean, doing communications, but then also getting to do community events is a really fun mix.
If you plan dances and you're wondering what you'll do in the future, this is it.
Now that you've been here for a year, which event is your favorite?
I would honestly say some of my favorite events happen here at Riverfest. Mm-hmm. It's a tie between the 4th of July concert that got rescheduled and the Halloween at the fest. That's one of my faves. Just because we didn't know what to expect, and it really relied on a lot of people coming together.
And then it was a surprise last minute thing where we had a whole photo booth area that Boland Farms donated and set up.
Amazing.
And then they donated like hundreds of pumpkins and gave them out for free, which was just awesome. That was such a cool event. You know what I like too? We've done a trick or treat around the peanuts, the vendor area, but we had never done it in the forested area. And if you had walked through our new trail that we're building as part of the disc golf course, I thought was so cool being able to walk through the forest.
Yeah.
Yep.
Tying everything back into the school theme. You had to give yourself a superlative specifically for summer events and communications. What would it be?
I feel like the people we work with will absolutely agree with this. Something about unnecessarily changing the name of an event just to make sure it has the perfect fit. Like, we've had the 4th of July event, then we had Freedom at the Fest, and then this year, because of our Rhythm and Roots, we have Red, White, Rhythm and Roots. The entire name is changed just to make it cute.
I mean,
so most likely to unnecessarily change an event name to make it cute.
The amount of thought that you put into themes and titles, one could call it overthinking, but I call it thoughtfulness.
Did you just have that in your back pocket? Ready to...
I did. Well, because there's so much creativity.
Okay, so if you had to pick a superlative for yourself, what would it be?
Well, I usually am walking around with the camera, and I don't know what it is, but I scare people a lot just because I pop out of nowhere and they don't see me coming or hear me, I guess. So I guess I would say most likely Sneak out with a camera? That sounds weird.
Like most likely to pop out of nowhere.
Yeah, most likely to pop out of nowhere with a camera.
Yeah.
Usually an extremely large camera too, it seems like.
It's like you're so tiny, and then the camera is so large. It is very funny
It's fun.
and endearing. Hope none of you get to comment on this, by the way.
No.
Okay.
Speaking of trying to pick a perfect name with the Rhythm and Roots Market, that was not only to a lot of thinking about the name, but all the thinking that went into making that market.
Yeah, so I guess let's start from the beginning of how this happened and how we got here. Okay, so every year for at least since 2019, we have done a summer concert series in the park. So we have 3 to 4 concerts every summer, and that's usually once a month. And then this past year, our city council really urged us to do a farmer's market, and it all just happened. Like everything just happened where we're looking at doing a farmer's market. We get contacted by Steve Bolin from Bolin Farms, and he said, I'm interested in helping you with the farmer's market if you'd like. And then he said, we need...
Of course.
And then he was like, we need to do it weekly. We said, no way are we going to do it weekly. And then we need to do it on Fridays. And we thought,
because we already have a lot of our stuff happening on Fridays.
Yeah.
It sounded crazy.
It sounded crazy. And then he said, you know what else? It would be really great if you could add music and beer. Okay, that's just over the top, Steve. I hope you hear this. We also wanted to make sure that it was downtown because we wanted to make sure people could get to it and it was easily accessible. People could walk to it. There was a lot of parking, and we wanted to make sure it spanned the summer. And then it just so happens while we were wrapping things up, Stone Pillar Winery contacted us and said, hey, we've got an entire summer calendar full of bands and food trucks already booked every single Friday from May to September. It was just a perfect storm. And so we thought, yes, let's mix the farmers market and this concert series. Let's expand our summer concert series and just wrap it all into one city event. That's how we came up with Rhythm and Roots. We wanted to make sure it encompassed the music portion, obviously, but then also tied in roots, both the farmers market aspect and then just roots of our community. And this came from, so maybe this is you out there. During our community survey, we get a bunch of comments, and one comment said something like, we just really appreciate the way that you have stuck to your community roots. And for me, that just I loved that. And that's just something that we've been trying to do, is making sure we're very intentional with sticking with community roots. So it felt kind of perfect to name it Rhythm and Roots.
Something else that ties along with the roots is with the farmers market, it's really important to us that everything is either handmade, hand-grown, locally produced. So not only are we having our local people come out, but everything there is also locally rooted, which I think is cool.
Yeah. Then that's so true. It goes back to the community aspect of it. Stone Pillar came in and said, we have this calendar of events, but then Force of Nature also stepped in and helped coordinate this, and Bolin Farms, and then just the way everyone has worked together. The Chamber of Commerce also was involved. Like, we obviously couldn't have done this without this group of people trying to plan it. It all happened very quickly, but there's a lot of community support for this. And then even the sponsors, so Panasonic Energy is a sponsor, Stone Pillar, Force of Nature, and then Great American Bank.
You know, actually, I'll quote, I don't know who said it, but in our initial meetings, we were trying to figure out how to make this possible. Someone said, this event will be a success because we're all in it together.
Aww.
And I know, but it's so true. With as many people supporting both by showing up and with the logistics, it's very helpful.
Yeah.
Very cool. And also something that, with it being downtown too, that's cool, is the common consumption area, which if you've been down there, you may have enjoyed it. You get to buy a beer and walk around to all the different tents of vendors. And what I liked last time I went, I was able to grab a refreshment and walk down to Bailey's. And that was really fun to be able to do some sip and shopping. So
I definitely bought multiple things.
I did too.
I did.
It's, if you haven't been, there's some cool stuff going on downtown.
Yeah, so we've done, well, at the time of filming, we've had 4 events, and they're, like I said, every Friday. But I don't know, it has been very fun, and the community has showed up. I mean, hundreds of people every single time, and I cannot wait to see what crowd we can bring down to Riverfest Park.
Yes.
So there are 21 events, 17 of them are in downtown DeSoto, and then 4 of them are at Riverfest. 3 of them are just larger scale concerts. And then one of them is the 4th of July event. The only difference is the Riverfest events, they're just a bigger scale. They have a lot more lights and sound and a stage and more food vendors. Our first one in June is the National Act Missouri. And then we're excited that, like you mentioned, the 4th of July event, Red, White, Rhythm, and Roots.
Another tongue twister.
We always host our 4th of July event on the 4th of July. So same event as the normal concerts, but at 9:45 we do our fireworks display. And then this year we have Stolen Winnebagos performing music for that event. So that's exciting.
Also, we can have alcohol sales now.
So yeah, one of the biggest differences between downtown and the Riverfest Park events, you mentioned the common consumption area. Downtown, you can buy a beer from one of the establishments that are selling. Currently, we have 3. There's Force of Nature, Stone Pillar, and then Bam Bam Brewing. And you can't bring outside alcohol in, but you can walk around the area on the street with your drink. But at Riverfest, we've always allowed people to bring their own coolers and their own drinks. But this year, at least for the first time since I've been here, we are allowing alcohol sales. So those same vendors that are downtown are going to come to Riverfest Park, and they're going to be on site for alcohol sales. So we've got, beer, wine slushies, very exciting.
So what do you recommend people to bring to both the Rhythm and Roots Market, downtown and here? Is there a difference there?
There is. So I would say at the downtown events, bring a chair. You don't have to bring a chair, but that's the whole vibe, is bringing your own chair and sitting in front of the band. And then a reusable bag, of course, for our market. And then the Riverfest Park events, those same things, but then I'd also bring a blanket and definitely bring bug spray. We do spray the parks before every event, but we're on the river, so there's a lot of mosquitoes. You could bring your own cooler, but we will have stuff on site. And then you could also bring your own snacks, but like I said, we'll have food vendors here, so you can always buy from them as well. So all our music should be family friendly at the concerts. And kids are obviously welcome, but we have something specifically for kids. And that is the movies at Miller.
But you don't have to be a kid.
You don't.
It's once a month. There's one in June, July, and August. We will go to Miller Park, and we actually rent this big blow-up screen, and people can come and watch a movie. This year we have Mufasa the Lion King, Inside Out 2, and Wicked.
Which you still haven't seen.
I know. Listen, I need to sit down and invest.
Well, on August 15th, you can sit down and invest. I love Wicked. The biggest change this year, usually we say the movie starts at dark, but this is the first year we are just standardizing the time. It is going to be 8:30 for all 3 movies in the park. In the middle of the summer, it's a little bit lighter, but it gets people home earlier and gets the kids home to bed a little bit earlier. That was our goal. Make sure if it was kid-friendly, it's not starting at 9 p.m. and then you go home at 11 p.m. And then every movie we have free popcorn.
And honestly, it's one of my favorite parts because there's something about the smell of popcorn. It just makes you want some.
Okay, so for the people who have not been to a movie at Miller or a movie at the park, what is your go-to movie night setup? What do people need to bring?
Okay, you definitely need a lawn chair. I like to bring a soda. And then if you want to bring a snack, I honestly just
eat bags of popcorn.
Eat bags of popcorn. And then I would say bug spray, just for extra measure. We also spray Miller Park, but maybe a jacket and a blanket too. It actually gets kind of chilly at night.
Yeah, I actually really like that people bring their giant blankets and all the kids pile on a blanket. I think that's cute.
It is really cute.
Okay, so we have a new event coming up, and it is the State of the City. So usually the State of the City happens during a Chamber of Commerce luncheon. And us and the mayor this year really wanted to give the opportunity to the community to come see the State of the City. Just hear all the things that are happening in DeSoto, what's to come, and then we even have an interactive element for the capital improvement project. So help us decide what projects you want us to focus on for the next 5 years. It's just a really good opportunity for residents to see the big picture of all the things happening.
Exactly. State of the City will be at the end of June, which kind of leads us into more exciting things with the theme pop-ups, partners, and Parks and Rec.
Yeah, June is a packed month. So let's just go through all the things that we've got coming up.
All right, so let's start with some upcoming Parks and Rec events.
The first couple are the classics at the Aquatic Center. We have 2 splash and play nights. That's where teens and tweens can come. It's at 8 to 10 p.m. It's $1, and they can just do a night swim, which is really fun. So that is June 14th and July 25th. And then at night for the 4th of July, we have the big event at Riverfest. But earlier in the day, there is a 4th of July party at the Aquatic Center. And they play a bunch of games like Sharks and Minnows. They have splash contests. They have penny and pop tosses. And then they also have prize giveaways. And I've heard some of the prizes from the last couple of years are pretty cool. And then we have another family favorite coming up, which is the Touch a Truck. So on June 7th, before the Mufasa movie in the park at night, we have the Touch a Truck event. And we'll have the fire department and the sheriff's office come and bring their vehicles. And then I know there's a school bus coming and KDOT. We also have construction equipment. And we even have a surprise. So last year, if you came, we had a Ninja Turtles truck. And this year we're having that in a Cars-themed truck. So that's going to be a really cool addition. Parents as teachers are doing some kids crafts. Kona Ice will be there selling some snow cones. And then they're going to be doing a lawn game ribbon cutting. And they'll have prizes and giveaways. And that's on the other side of Miller Park.
And then in July, we have the LearNature Summer Camp, which, if we backtrack, that was my first week that I was here. And it was really fun, super cute. Gives the kids an opportunity to come in, see City Hall, learn how municipal government works.
Yeah, it was so cute. They did a mock city council meeting where they each got to go up to the podium and tell the mayor why they think a certain ice cream should be DeSoto's official ice cream flavor. And then they got to participate in the voting process and decided what the ice cream flavor was. And it was so cute. And I just love this partnership because not only is it with LearNature, it's a free summer camp. And the kids get to learn about city government. There's also a fun partnership with Chills to provide ice cream and do a couple of free ice cream days right after the event. So that is very cool. So thank you, Chills, for doing that.
Yes. We'll see what they pick this year. All right.
And then to end the summer, but probably our biggest partnership of the entire year is the Soto Days. So the Soto Days is ran by a committee, but the city sponsors it and supports it and sets up for the event. And that is happening Labor Day weekend. It is August 28th through August 30th. And we just wanted to give a shout out to the DeSoto Days Committee and put that on your calendars because it's a 61st year and always adding new things, new entertainment, and they've been a great partner to work with.
I love seeing that downtown strip just turn into a carnival.
Yeah.
It is so cool.
Yeah, very cool.
We just went through all the summer events, but out of all the events this year, which one are you looking forward to most?
So I don't have a date for this yet, but I think the one I'm most excited about is the disc golf course official opening. We've been working on building this disc golf course for the last year, and we're finally coming down to the last probably 2 months of it. So we expect a soft opening at the end of July, and we're hoping for an official big event in August. And just so exciting to wrap it all together and do a players tournament and have food, and I'm very excited for that event.
Yeah,
What about you?
I think the event that I'm looking forward to most would have to be the 4th of July.
Yeah?
I just love it.
That is cool. That is by far our largest event. There's 1,200 people were here last year. Very cool atmosphere. I know I've seen this on social media before. People just comment about how it's such a community vibe it feels like that night during the 4th of July. Yeah.
Yeah, it was really cool
that.
to see last
And
year.
we have a really good fireworks show, we'll say.
Yeah, I mean, I'd say it's pretty good.
So now that you've been here for a year, what do you think is the most stressful event? Just to give people a little behind the scenes of how we're feeling the day of.
It's funny. The Halloween event, which was one of my favorites, was the most stressful because we're working with a new trail, different parts of the trail, making sure everyone gets there. But most stressful, very rewarding. But you were dressed up as Joy, so no stress allowed. I was anxiety, so I was like, I can be anxious all I want.
Yeah. God, that was cute. So we've talked a lot about all the events happening, but where can people find all the info for the events they want to go to?
First one would be the city website, DeSotoKS.us, which we have the calendar. We have the community section where it shows all the community events. Facebook e-newsletter, which comes out every 2 weeks.
Okay, so it's kind of weird asking you this because we're both hall monitors, but we have to ask it. So where are you headed next, Libby? Either today or what big projects are you working on?
Leading from this, going back to do some social media planning and posting, and then preparing for State of the City, making sure we got all that. Where are you going next, or what projects are you working on today?
Today, State of the City planning, and I mentioned this earlier, but the disc golf course. So wrapping that up. Now that Public Works is finishing the construction of it, now it's our time to shine. And a big project I'm working on is the logo design and all of the things that go into naming the holes and just making it an experience. So I get to do all the fun stuff after they've done all the hard work.
Thanks for listening to this episode. If you've made it this far, comment a cool emoji because you're cool.
What's a cool emoji?
It's the sunglasses. Sunglasses
That
emoji.
obviously shows not cool. So we will see you here in a couple weeks on the stage. Not us personally.
Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you next time.
See you next time.
Is it going?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, no guests today. It's just us, and it's just us.
Today is a little bit different because usually Libby or I are behind the camera, but we're
We're
not.
decided to switch it up.
Today we're here, both in front of the camera.
One of my favorite moments from planning an event, because at the end of the night, you're super tired. I have this picture of her with her Santa outfit on, peacing out at like 11 p.m. from our Mayor tree lighting. So that's.
Will you just admit that you like that outfit?
I liked the outfit. Don't get her started. That was not only into a lot of thinking about the name, but all the thinking that went into making that market.
I get what you're doing.
I'm picking up what you're putting down.
Cool.
What are we doing? What are we doing?
What are we doing?
We're sweating. I'm sweating.
Oh my God, I'm getting so burnt right now. I can feel it.
All right. Thanks for tuning in. That's it. Oh no, for real though. Okay, well.